Sure, Thomas Hendricks here. I'm the host of the Legends Behind the Craft podcast. On this show, I talk with leaders in the wine and craft beverage industry. Before I introduce today's guest, who's an owner winemaker out of Sonoma, got to do a sponsor message. Today's episode, sponsored by Barrels Ahead. Barrels Ahead, we work with you to implement a one-of-a-kind marketing strategy, one that highlights your authenticity, tells your story, and connects you with your ideal customers. In short, we help wineries and craft beverage producers unlock their story to unleash their revenue. Go to barrelsahead.com today to learn more. Today, I'm super excited to talk with Jess Wade. Jess is the owner and winemaker of Topophilia Wines in Sonoma County. Jess, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Drew.
Oh, thanks for being on. So, Jeff, let's start just right with the name. Topophilia. I actually got my major in Attic Greek. So
okay.
I appreciate the Greek etymology there.
You're one of the few that knows what it means then.
Yeah.
So the word topophilia means a love of place. That's our direct translation. Mm-hmm. And I actually have it on the bottle itself just to help people along. And I found that name when I was living overseas. I was living in New Zealand. I was working at a winery there. And I had some pretty lucrative opportunities come my way from back here at home. I'm from Sonoma.
Where in New Zealand were you?
I was in Cromwell, so Central Otago.
Okay, so yeah, I was there many years ago. So up by, that's east of Auckland?
No, Cromwell is on the South Island.
That's the South Island. Okay, I was in the North Island up by the lake in the ski resort.
It's all okay. Yeah.
Geography is very rusty today.
And not many people know a lot about New Zealand. So they always ask me like, oh, where were you? I'm like, Cromwell. They're like, where's that? I'm like, it's a tiny town of about 2,000 people. And you probably won't know where it is.
In the South Island. Okay.
Yeah.
I never had the opportunity at the South Island.
I highly suggest it. If you want some world-class Pinot Noir that you rarely get your hands on here in the United States, go to Central Otago. They're doing some really great stuff there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely will. It's been on the plans. But I got to say, on the North Island Pinot up where we had it was fantastic when we were there.
So you were probably Martinborough region?
No, it was, I'm dying. It was just east of Auckland. We were on a surf trip. I was in Raglan and then.
Oh, there's Gisborne over there as well.
Gisborne, it was inland. I thought it was Otago, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's on the south. It could have been like North Martinborough. Martinborough is known for their Pinot Noir as well. There's some great producers up there too.
I'm Googling it. So anyways, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, anyways.
So you're in New Zealand.
Yeah, so I'm in New Zealand. I was going to stay for a couple of years and I started getting these emails and people were offering me vineyards. These were people that came up to Sonoma, bought these homes. They'd have a vineyard on it. Some as small as like a third of an acre. Some of them are 2-3 acres. And through various connections that I had made over the years here in Sonoma, some people that were my bosses, people that were friends said, oh, this guy Jess does stuff like this. And so these people just started emailing me and saying, hey, we have this small vineyard. We don't know what to do with it. A lot of the larger vineyard management companies wouldn't take it on because it's just too small. And they said, hey, if you farm these, you keep the grapes and we just want like a case of wine out of it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen.
That's like ultimate micro production.
Yeah, exactly. So the first person I said, I would love to, but I'm on the other side of the world right now. And I don't really have any plans on coming back because I moved over there with a backpack and a one-way ticket.
Oh, nice.
So within about probably a month and a half, I get 3 emails about vineyards and I have 2 people that I'd known previously contact me and say, hey, we want you to be our winemaker. So all of this kind of happened at once and I felt that it was time to come home and start working for myself. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't really know how I was going to do that because my parents are chefs. So
are they?
I don't come from a family of like a lot of money, so I didn't have any startup capital.
But you were raised sort of in the wine and food industry.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally raised in my parents' kitchens. My dad's a fresh pasta maker and my mom's a chef. So I was raised, in a pasta shop in kitchens. So I figured, I was like, hey, this is a pretty unique opportunity. So I flew home, bought a tractor, couldn't afford a sprayer. So I bought a backpack sprayer used.
Oh, geez.
And that first year I farmed, was it like 8 acres? With a little tractor I bought and a backpack sprayer. And it was.
How many plots was that 8 acres? Was it?
Oh, that was 6 different plots. No, 5 different plots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So luckily they were all kind of in the same area. So I would just drive my tractor from where I stored it at this barn on one of the properties. I just drive my tractor down the highway.
Okay.
So yeah, I started with that and started making wine for 2 labels, started making wine for Topophilia. But as you're aware, wine takes,
yeah,
from the time you start growing it until it goes into a bottle, 20 months, 22 months. So in this meantime, I knew I needed startup capital, and I am very stubborn and I don't like asking people for things. So I went back to working in the hospitality business because I put myself through college working in restaurants and bars. So I went back to a local restaurant. I was a server there at night. And then also the local bar here, the sports bar where I worked for many, many years, they hired me back on. And for 2 years, with very few days off, I worked every single day farming and making wine, and then every single night serving or bartending or doing both.
Oh my Lord, that's a round the clock job there.
Yeah, it was really rough, especially towards the end. But I did that. I saved up all my tip money. And that is literally how I got the capital to start Topophilia. It paid for barrels, it paid for custom crush, it paid for other grapes, because some of these vineyards that I was farming, I was actually selling the grapes because I wasn't using them for Topophilia. It wasn't in line with what I was doing yet.
I guess, why would people that have these vineyards just let you take all the grapes? I mean,
I have no idea.
So I guess they want the vines trained and they want the vineyard maintained, and they may have a long-term vision of eventually monetizing it.
No, these are just people that wanted a beautiful vineyard but didn't know what to do with it and had no idea how to do anything with it.
Like they might have the house and the environment and it's like a second vacation home and they've got vineyard there.
Oh yeah, no, these were like second, third, and fourth homes.
Okay. So I get it. So
they're wealthy people.
The wine country environment, but to them, okay. Sorry, slow on the uptake. What a unique business model. I mean,
yeah.
Payout comes in a long time though. So
exactly. So the payout does come in a long time, and I'm still farming some of those vineyards to this day. And my business model was basically take advantage of any situation that comes your way and take every single meeting. I mean, I got very creative. 1 year to buy barrels, I sold bricks. I found a house in Napa that had all these bricks in the backyard.
That's awesome.
And they were just giving them away. They had no concrete on them either. So they're, beautiful.
Yeah.
They have a nice patina. So I pulled out 8,000 bricks out of a house on my trailer, stored them, and then sold them online as reclaimed bricks.
That is awesome hustle. And the turnaround, I mean, in bricks, I know I just bought a few myself. I think I was paying 45 cents a brick or so.
Yeah, I was charging $1 a brick.
Oh yeah. Well, you're in the North Napa area. I had that Home Depot brick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So really, my start for myself, it was just kind of piecing it together and doing whatever I could. It's pretty unique for this industry. A lot of people come into it from, maybe they were in finance or in tech, and then they come in and they buy the winery and get the winemaker. I didn't have that option, so I just did what I could to make it work.
It's one of the best hustle stories I've heard. I interview a lot of winemakers, and there's a lot of people that come out from previous careers in law firms or the hedge fund industry or whatnot.
Yep.
Just from the ground up. And that, talk about sense of place. You've got to really understand the place in order to monetize what you've got going on right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my parents instilled a good work ethic in me. I started working when I was a kid in my dad's pasta shop every day after school because that's what you did. You work with your family. That's what he did. I grew up on a 40-acre ranch up in the mountains. So, awesome. Weekends were spent working on the ranch and working on the property and constant remodel of the house, and whatever you need to do, you did.
That's awesome. So talking about this hustle, and you've got all these vineyard plots and you've got your first release of Topophilia coming out. How did all those patchwork of plots culminate together to the first wines?
So first wines were rosé of Pinot Noir and a Carneros Pinot. So it was, the rosé came out of one vineyard. We did direct press for that. I don't do any Saunier because I was growing that vineyard specifically for rosé.
Okay.
So more crop load, retains the acidity, doesn't have as much color, which is exactly what I'm looking for. The vineyard could handle it. So that's why I chose that particular vineyard. The other
and smart, if you're getting paid out on the crop, you don't want to get your harvest down to too small.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about balance, vine health. For Pinot, obviously, we don't want as much crop. And so I used 3 other vineyards for that first release.
Mm.
And it was 60 or 70 cases of rosé and about 100 cases of Pinot.
Oh, wow.
So talk about tiny.
Uh-huh.
But that's because I knew that I needed to make some money back. So I
Yeah.
was selling grapes as well and just
Okay.
keeping enough to get myself started. And as every year, I was keeping more grapes and selling less grapes. So just kind of slowly building it because I just wanted it to kind of grow organically. And I couldn't afford to have a ton of wine left over after a vintage and store it while I'm trying to make this other one. I needed that cash flow.
Sure.
Because I knew I was going to be quitting the restaurant and the bar.
Mhm.
So started out with that, and I've been steadily growing. Let's see, 2017 was the first vintage. I think it was March 23rd of 2019 was first release of the wine. So we did a release party. I rented some space at a local, it's like this old Victorian, absolutely gorgeous, has a full kitchen, used to be a restaurant. So I rented that space, and instead of hiring a caterer, my family helped me because my family chefs. So I literally my mom and I did the cooking for the first release party. I spent 2 days before prepping. I went into the space beforehand. Her and I were working in the kitchen. I changed my clothes, went out and did the party.
Love these DIY startup stories. Yeah, the exact type of way I would probably do it if I ever tried to run a winery. How did you leverage the hospitality connections to sell this first vintage? How did you actually get the wines? How did you sell them?
I sold it by working with a company called Bohemian Highway, a local travel company. So I was doing tours for them, and I would just tell people about these wines that I'm making and they would buy them. And then also while I was working in the restaurants and the bar, people would ask me, they're like, oh, you know a lot about wine. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually a winemaker. I'm starting my label. What's your information? So I would get these people's information. I have a whole stack like this of pieces of paper with people's name and email. And when I went to do the release party, I emailed all those people and most of them showed up and a lot of them are still customers to this day.
Oh, that's awesome. Total underground.
Yeah. And these are people that live all over the country. So once they tried it, I would ship them wine and then their friends would try it and they would start buying wine. And it's just grown like that. I mean, I did have one restaurant placement. My first placement was at Bouchon in Yountville. So I had it there. And then a couple local small wine shop here. Sonoma's Best has been great to me. A good friend of mine runs the wine program for the whole hospitality group. But really, my focus has been direct to consumer for this brand. And it was just kind of building it organically. And, not about a year later, we're in COVID. So we don't have people visiting anymore. So I'm like, okay, well, I was, selling wine, using my connections with Bohemian Highway, doing tastings that way. That's all gone now. So I started doing virtual tastings. I just created these little, packets online that said, hey, here's your bundle. You can get these 2 bottles. We can do a tasting. You can ship bottles to your friends and we can do tastings. And I sold a ton of wine doing that. It was really great. I gained a lot of new customers across the nation. And, I'm still willing to do them. It's just people aren't really doing those anymore. And there's, they can travel now. And I don't blame them.
I'm always curious on the wineries that still keep doing them. And it does make sense really, it's got to be a mutual fit. You can always tell the wineries that were just doing it because they felt they needed to do it, and those that actually had the love or had a format for it.
Honestly, the last ones I've done have been like corporate stuff. So where people can't really travel or aren't willing to, we'll get together and do do it for a corporate group or something like that. But I haven't done one in, I don't even know how long, probably 8 months, 9 months.
And that's a great idea. I had someone on the show just about a week or so ago, and one of their specialties was these corporate events where if you have a sales team that's in 5 or 6 cities, you would send out the samples to each one of those salespeople, come and do the 10-15 minute tasting to kick off the sales meeting or end of the sales meeting.
Exactly.
And give everybody like this bonding experience.
Yeah, usually I recommended they do it at the end because we are drinking wine. And also it's going to go long. It's never going to be 15 minutes. And I always tell whoever the lead is, I'm like, yeah, you say 15 minutes, double it.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that.
I think that's one of the best things to come out of these virtual tastings is that corporate kind of community event.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
But
I started with 160, 170 cases.
wow,
Now I'm up to almost 1,000 cases a year. I
that's
have,
good growth.
yeah, I have, multiple single vineyard designates. I just sold out of my Carneros blend. I do have a Sonoma Coast blend for next year just because I have some more vineyards out in like
Mhm.
Petaluma Gap, Russian River areas.
Are you
Sonoma
currently soliciting more of these micro vineyard management?
No, I'm not managing any more
Okay.
vineyards. I still have the original ones,
Okay.
but people have been offering me vineyards, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I live on a 2-acre vineyard
You got a
that are
whole
right around
operation going.
here. Yeah. I've got everything I need right here, but I don't need any more vineyards. I've got my hands full there. And honestly, there's one that's really, really small, but
Mhm.
it's kind of my Zen vineyard. It's where I go, where I don't want to talk to anybody. I just need a day to myself, or a half a day at least. I go out and prune the whole thing myself every year, because
Mhm.
acreage, you need people to help work.
Yeah. It's about this vineyard that makes it so special.
It's tiny and I can do it by myself and not have to worry about it.
I get it. Yeah.
It was actually one of the first too, so it just kind of coincidentally is. But because it is so small, I know that I can blast through and do the operations myself
Uh-huh.
without having to be stressed about it. Whereas, 2-3 acre vineyards, I got to call my guys out and
Yeah.
say, hey, we got to get this done. We got to do this. So,
Mhm. That's
um, but yeah, no, I'm sourcing from different growers now, doing different things. Right now, I have a rosé of Pinot on my website, topophiliawines.com.
Mhm.
And I'm doing a Grenache rosé this year. I made it last year and it was sold out before it was done fermenting. So I had to go buy some Pinot and make rosé of Pinot.
Oh.
But this year we got more grapes. So doing Grenache rosé. I'm doing Chardonnay now. I started last year with the 2021 Sonoma Coast Chardonnay. It actually just got 94 points from Wine Enthusiast.
Oh, congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
And we're recording this for those listeners right during the harvest. So we're particularly honored that you've taken time out of the harvest. How is this 2022 harvest going?
It's been challenging
Mhm.
for several reasons. We got some heat spikes. So water is an issue there. Some vineyards didn't have water, some did. If you did, then you're looking pretty good. Luckily, I did. So I was able to get a lot of water on there. Also, just some of the cultural practices that you can do, timing of leafing, how much you're going to do,
Mhm.
where your vine health is overall is really important. So that was definitely tough. Things came in light for me. I think it came in probably around 20 to 40% light from
Oh,
a normal year, quote
oh,
unquote. I saw other people where it came in 60%, 70% light.
oh, wow.
So we're looking at low yields. It happens, Mother
Mhm.
Nature runs the show. We just try to keep up.
Mhm.
So you
For
can't
sure.
really dictate it. I'm doing Cabernet now. I'm doing red blends. I had someone just plant a Cabernet Franc vineyard for me.
Oh, wow.
One of my growers that I buy from, he asked me if I wanted anything. And I said, yeah, your site's great for Cab Franc. So I'm expanding. And, some of these vineyards are growing with me and planting what I really want, which
Mhm.
is great. But overall, I'd say 2022 vintage, I think the quality is going to be there. I think it's going to take a little time for
Mhm.
it to kind of homogenize and come into its own. I was actually just talking to a winemaker friend yesterday over a beer about that. And yeah, I think it's just going to take a little time, but I think it'll be good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
we're excited to see it.
That's good to hear. We need a couple, even if they're low harvests, we need a few smooth harvests. It's been some strange years over the last
Yeah.
3 or 4.
No more 2020s because I
Yeah.
lost my entire crop that year.
Oh man. Did any of those small vineyards that you get your fruit from, did any of those houses get lost?
No, nothing was lost from the
Or
physical
organic?
fire. It was all smoked. It was all smoked.
Also smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just too bad. And there's things you can do to reduce smoke taint and get rid of it in wines. However, A, they're very expensive. And B, you're going to have a reduction in quality. The only way to get that quality back is by using a lot of the different products that are out on the market.
Mhm.
And that's not what Topophilia is about. Topophilia is about you tasting the vineyard. And it's more important to me that those wines stay of quality and are true representations of the vineyard rather than, spend all this extra time and money and effort to make a subpar wine and then try to sell it to you at the same price. That's not my belief system. So, I took a hit. It is what it is.
I think, and yeah, and just being a champion of the quality and the sense of place, you have to. I mean, unless you're making a, and I don't want to say the right, unless you're a wine that just needs, it makes a manufactured product, you can force that right into the production. But small production like yours, where it's the taste of the vineyard. I want to shift to what we still have to your tastings. We talked in the pre-show about how special your tastings are. Talk to me about that.
So when you do tastings, we're doing them basically at my home. We're going to go sit next to the vineyard that I farm organically. We're going to sit next to my organic garden. I re-landscaped everything here. I've really built it up. It was just piles of dirt and weeds when I first got here. And it's no frills. It looks like, just a working vineyard and farm. My tractor's out there, my old trucks, but we're just going to sit there. My dog is going to be running around and I'm going to be welcoming
What
you.
type of dog do you have?
He's a black lab Great Dane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's currently sitting right here chewing on his bone.
I got 3 right below me somewhere here.
Yeah, but for me, I could have gone out and head downtown, get a tasting room, do all that. But what I really wanted to show people and really show them what wine country really is that we're going to welcome you into our homes, just like I do. When you're purchasing wine from me after the tasting, you're going to take that wine home. You're not going to go to another, you're not going to be drinking again in a tasting room setting. You're not going to be drinking it in a multi-million-dollar cave. You're not going to be drinking it, bellied up to the bar somewhere. You're going to be drinking it at your kitchen table with your friends, maybe on your patio, in your garden, wherever with your friends. And that's really what I'm trying to create. So that sense of place, once again, is still there. And you can easily recreate that memory that we have together. I've made a lot of friends that are still customers to this day that have come out and done a tasting and they said, this is really special because I feel like I'm just at one of my friends' houses. And that's exactly what I want, is I want you to feel like, I'm welcoming you into my home as a friend, not just a customer.
I love that. As the industry grows and tasting rooms and hospitality becomes more and more important, you really do start to lose that sense of place, or the tasting room becomes that sense of place that the people remember, which you're right, it isn't the wine. I think that type of a tasting is what a lot of people are seeking out and really just don't know where to find it.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a ton of it out there. And again, it was me working with what I had, and what I had was my garden. I had a vineyard. I got a big walnut tree that we sit under, and
oh, nice.
Yeah. So
that's good. And people can sign up for your tastings online.
Yeah, just head to the website, topophiliawines.com. There's a little calendar button there, and you'll see the schedule and you can come on out.
I like it.
Good luck during harvest.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. So as far as the brand, and then people have the wine club, as far as your visitors, do they come from around the country, or how do people find you? Is it all word of mouth?
Yeah, mostly word of mouth. I've worked with a couple of local driving companies, so they'll bring people sometimes. My wines are at a few restaurants here in town now, at a couple of wine shops here in town, so they'll come out. But I'd say the majority of it is people that are already members sharing my wine with their friends, and they give me a call and they say, hey, we want to come do a tasting. So it's very organic in that sense. And it's done really well. I mean, I have customers all across the country. I'd say, honestly, like Atlanta, Georgia is one of my biggest areas that I sell to.
Big
yeah.
Atlanta.
Very random.
That happens though. You just get that one refer, that one person that tells their friends, and then suddenly you get this hot pocket.
Yeah. And it's been great. And again, I've made friends with these people from all over the country, and, I love having them out, and I'll do whatever I can for them. I'm not normally open on Sundays because I need a day off.
Yeah.
But if someone's coming out and, I haven't seen them in a long time, or it's the only day they can do it, I will do my very best to accommodate.
That's awesome.
Can't always promise it, but
I mean, that's hustling to success. Speaking about hustling, you're telling me you've got a new brand, or you started a new venture.
Yeah, so I have a business partner, Gianna Fugazi. She has her own brand as well. We met probably like 8 months ago. First met through a mutual friend, just started talking about, what we're doing and what the future could be. And her and I decided to partner up, and we started a brand called Tagline. It's Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir and a Sonoma County Chardonnay. We're just in the beginning stages of it, but it's a brand that we're going to be taking national. We've already got several
wow.
brokers throughout the country who are now asking us to make wines not just from California, but also from Washington, as well as Europe and New Zealand.
Oh, this
Um,
is some serious production.
yeah, this is very, very large production. And what I've done is I've gone out to my contacts up and down California,
Mhm.
and I have these larger facilities where they make the wine for me. So during
Mhm.
the season, I don't have to be there. I trust these people. They make it all.
Mhm.
And then I just go down afterwards. We do the blending, we do the bottling, and then put it in storage and send it out on semis. So we're doing that. Like I said, we're going to be going up to Washington, sourcing wines from there.
Mhm.
And then one of our brokers who we've partnered with has asked us to do wines from, 5 different countries in Europe, as well as New Zealand, but they'd like us to go to South America. So between Gianna and I and all of our contacts, we're going to be able to make these different wines and all these different brands. Gianna's really the brand builder. She's a
Mhm.
great winemaker as well, but I'll just go out and source and, we'll make it happen. So this is
Sounds like a fantastic venture, but huge, like completely kind of separate from what's happening at Topophilia.
very, very different. I've worked in my 15 years in the industry, 18 harvests now.
Mhm.
I've worked in wineries where we made 500 cases of wine.
Mhm.
And I've worked in wineries where we made 2 million cases of
Uh-huh.
wine, and everywhere in between. And, those experiences were have been helping me with projects like that. Obviously my heart and soul are in Topophilia. I literally bleed in those vineyards.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because when you're a farmer, you end up cutting your hands all the time. But when it comes to Tagline and this other business venture, I've got the experience in dealing with larger quantities of wines, the logistics of that, how to blend, how to utilize different grape varietals in order to achieve the highest quality product at still a very consumer friendly price.
Yeah. That must
Because
be so hard, different skill sets. Like I'm kind of identify with the skill set they had over at Topophilia, everything hands-on, hands-on. I would have a tremendously hard time delegating some of the activities that you're going to have to Tagline.
yeah, it takes a lot of practice. I
Mhm.
had a lot of practice doing it. I'm lucky enough that, I've worked under really great winemakers
Mhm.
starting from day one from my first harvest in 2007. I've worked under great winemakers, great viticulturists,
Mhm.
and people that have just, continued to be mentors and continued to help me along the way, which is
Mhm.
something, I hope to do in the future. And I try to even do today.
Mhm.
My first winemaker, he recognized that, I was starting to take an interest in it, but I knew absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
I randomly got the job through a friend of mine whose dad made him get a harvest job. And he asked me if I wanted to go. And I moved to Central Coast with him. And within 2 weeks, I knew that winemaking is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow.
And that is partially due to Alec, my first winemaker. I give him a lot of credit for that. Also, during harvest, I curse his name sometimes. Why did you make me do this?
Yeah, that it kind of leads into my perfect segue as we kind of wrap down this podcast. Like, what motivates you to keep going, to look forward to the next harvest, the next venture?
Cold beer at the end of the day
Yeah.
sometimes. No, for me, starting out, what motivated me was just to keep learning, learning these different wine styles, being able to visit these different places that are absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
It allowed me to pack up my bags one day, or actually pack one bag, a
Uh-huh.
backpack, buy a one-way ticket and move to Australia. Did a vintage there, and then it allowed me to go to New Zealand. And that was kind of my motivation then.
Mhm.
And then when I came back, my motivation has really been to build Topophilia and connect with people,
Mhm.
because these connections are really, really important to me. And again, like I had said, I've made very good friends all over the country
Yeah.
just from them coming in to taste. And I think that's really great, because wherever I go, I have these friends that I can reach out to and say, hey, it's been a long time, haven't seen you. We can go out and have a dinner, glass of wine, grab a beer, whatever it is, go for
Mhm.
a walk, and we can catch up because we've already had that interaction. So I always feel like I'm at home somewhere. The other thing that keeps me going is, with Tagline, I want to build an extremely successful brand. Both my business partner and I both like that aspect, is building something and making it grow. And,
Mhm.
obviously we want to make some money at this game.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you, making wine in the wine industry, especially small production like mine, it is not easy work.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the profitability of 600 to 1,000 cases. It's not a lot of margin.
Not much. But it's allowed me a really great life. I don't need much. I live in a, small 2-bedroom, 1-bath cottage that was built in like the 30s. I live on my vineyard. I've got my dog. I've got my old truck. I've got my old Jeep. I own a tractor.
That's everyone's dream when they think
Yeah.
about wine.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I live a good life. It allows me to travel, but also, tagline, because I have these capabilities and I do have a great partner, her and I really want to see this succeed. And it's already succeeding as of today. I sold a couple of pallets today just randomly.
I'll find to sell pallets.
Yeah. And that's the thing is when I think of tagline, okay, I'm selling pallets and truckloads. When I'm thinking Topophilia, I will hand sell you a single bottle of wine, which I'll show you right here. Here's the label.
Oh, yeah.
This is the 2018 Carneros Pinot Noir. So you'll see there the love of place that I put.
Yep.
This actually got 90 points at Wine Spectator.
Oh, great. Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah.
Well, Jess, I know you got to get back to harvest, and I really thank you for your time. Where can people find out more about Topophilia and any of your other ventures?
Topophiliawines.com is going to be your best bet. As for the other venture, just shoot me an email through Topophilia's website and we can discuss from there. I'm always open to chatting with new people that are maybe interested in bringing tagline on, or if they want to have their own private label. I do that as well, by the way. I do private label winemaking.
Sounds good.
So shocking. I do another thing.
I'm sure there's a couple other ones we didn't even get into.
Oh yeah. It's a never ending list. I mean, you need me to fix your fence? I'll go do that too. Whatever.
That's awesome. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You have a great rest of your harvest.
You as well.
Thanks for listening to the Legends Behind the Craft podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.